I kind of begrudgingly respect just the dedication to not getting better at what you do for a living. Just coast through life.
It probably shouldn't even happen.
If you got it, you got to flaunt it, Acid.
You know what? I got a lot of stuff that I don't want to flaunt, and so I just keep it to myself.
Jeremy is really big into the used mattresses. That's an excellent deal.
He has a used mattress store on the side.
I'm not going to pull the pants down without the pants down cue.
And we found out that Anthony's friends are all 13-year-old boys. Nice.
Clay, how you doing?
Doing a little more poorly after that terrible introduction. I was just fine, to be honest with you.
Hello, Sci-Fi Gangsters. This is the show where we talk about comic books, science fiction, and video games. But really, it's just an excuse for me to catch up with my friends, old and new. I'm Anthony, an R media scholar and person who loves to dance right before the show begins. Right? I just like to seduce the people who are waiting for the show to begin. I won't do it now, but just so everybody understands, I was dancing before we went live. Fantastic. All right, so today's topic we're talking about, so we're recovered from Dragon Con 2021. We've already gone back to work and things are back to normal. We're still suffering from post-con depression, which is real. And now we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Dragon Con 2021. What did we like? Was there anything that we didn't like? We'll discuss. That's how we'll do it. And of course, you can check us out on YouTube. We're streaming live. You can also listen to us later. We're also now streaming on Twitch. So we're doing both. We're streaming on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. We are upgrading. And let me tell you, it is not contributing to views. So once again, we're talking about Dragon Con 2021, a review show. And we have a fantastic panel here. Let me tell you, we have experts when it comes to Dragon Con. Of course, I've been going to Dragon Con for several years now, but also we have Matt Zee. Matt Zee is an expert Dragon Con attendee and cosplayer. I've seen all the pics that you post on Insta. I see them all, Matt. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Glad to be here.
All right. Now, quick, list all the cosplays you dressed up as.
For this year, I went as, hold on, my brain just went blank. Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. Tracer from Overwatch. That's it right there. I turned it on. Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. Captain Kirk from the 2009, or I'm sorry, Sulu, from the 2009 Star Trek. Leon S. Kennedy from Resident Evil 2 Remake. No, I didn't bring Loki. I usually have a Loki from Avengers, Emperor Loki with the big horns and the cape. The helmet's broken right now. And that is it.
Still an impressive lineup. And what did I do? I dressed up as Venom twice, like I do every year.
You did a mashup this year, though.
I did do a mashup. Yeah. I did do a mashup, but that's only because I bought something at Dragon Con. And it's right there. See? You can see it. Kind of, right? Anyway, so our next panelist here, my chair's in the way. My next panelist here is Tony P. Henderson. And let me tell you, Tony P. is I'm very interested to hear his experience because I know you had a pretty, I'll say, prestigious panel that you ran, that you moderated. I definitely want to hear more about that. But Tony, how you doing?
Hey, I'm great, man. I tried to cosplay Seuss from Gravity Falls. It's basically just a question mark T-shirt, some shorts and a hat. The T-shirt didn't come in time, so I didn't do it. But that was my one. I'm just so impressed with the lineup of like 10 things over 4 or 5 days, man. That's crazy.
That is very impressive. Very, very impressive.
I couldn't even do the one. I failed at one, and a casual one at that. Like just.
And once again, I was very, very fortunate. This came in literally the day. By the way, if you're listening to us in a podcast form, you can't see that I'm putting on my Venom mask. This literally came in the day before I left for Dragon Con, this particular mask here, and I enjoy it. I got this, I ordered that from Etsy. Pretty fun little Venom mask there. Our next panelist is my co-host, good friend of mine in person, who we ended up not sharing a bed. We ended up not, which I was a little disappointed in. I had to sleep on the couch. But Jeremy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. My Dragon Con 2022 hotel search has already begun, so I'm counting down the days.
Of course, we're always depending on Jeremy to lock down that hotel. We kind of just know that he's got it. He's gonna get it, and we kind of just like the cockroaches we are. We just sneak into his hotel after he's spent all this time and energy locking in the hotel for DragonCon 2022 and every year's previous. And then our next co-host here, a good friend of mine and a streamer, Acidtrain. Acid, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, Acid, you did not attend DragonCon, but I'm sure
I was there in spirit. Yeah, I had a great time. I met Matt and Tony there. I sought them out. Unfortunately, you did not. But yeah, I was there in my spirit costume.
There are a lot.
I was so surprised to see you. It was great.
There are a lot of people at DragonCon, so the fact that I did not see Matt or Tony, I mean, it's completely understandable.
And it's funny that technology has allowed us to have these contraptions right here. I think it's called a phone that you could, call your friends and meet up.
Even more so, because I moderate, I'm a professional guest, so I'm in the schedule. You know where I'm at. You can find me.
You just knew.
Did you try? Did you even try?
All right, so this is going off the rails already, and I think it's very important that I stress this. We are not going to attack the host. Like, this is something that we are not going to do. And when I say that, I mean that's probably going to happen the whole episode. That's probably what's going to happen.
I do have a question for Jeremy, though, as far as the hotel is concerned. So when you're checking out, can you not just book? Like, I'll go ahead and book the same room for next year, please.
So it depends entirely on the hotel, and it depends on if you're in the Dragon Con rate. So getting into one of those hotels in the Dragon Con block is basically like trying to get season tickets to a
something
Alabama, or some really high profile college team. You basically have to wait for somebody to either die or just drop out and then try to snag their spot.
Okay. Interesting.
So the way it worked, the way I remember in the past is they set aside these dates. So you have the four main host hotels, 5 technically. You have the Sheraton, the Hyatt, the Hilton, and the ever so popular Marriott. They each have specific dates.
Why are you just going to leave out the Westin, man?
Like I said, 5 technically. Oh, you stayed at the Westin.
You count the Sheraton. You count the Sheraton, but you don't count the Westin.
You go to the Sheraton only to pick up your badge. That's why it's so
Star Trek.
important to me. Yes. Yeah. So they set aside specific days for each hotel, and they go live around like 10 o'clock. I remember in the past to get mine, I would call out of work just so I could sit there at my computer hitting refresh.
Okay.
May the odds forever be in your favor. So it's literally the Hunger Games. DragonCon on their Twitter even makes light of it, and they call it the Hunger Games. That's one thing I would suggest doing is following their Twitter or just follow them on social media. They always announce when they go live. Now the fun thing, not to brag, I stay at the Hyatt, and what they have is what they call legacy status. Yes.
They have what?
They have what they call legacy status. So
it's the same way with the Hilton. And,
is it now?
Yeah.
I didn't know they started doing
Hilton and Marriott have legacy status.
Yeah,
they all started doing it.
No wonder he laughed and looked down on the Westin guy.
Good luck.
It's like, you Westin people.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't do
it even like nearby hotels, like the Aloft has the same thing. Like they have like Dragon Con rate, room. And like you can still get some of the rooms there outside of the rate. Like I think the Hilton is completely sold out. Like it's all legacy.
Yeah.
But like you can find rooms, they're just quite expensive.
Gotcha.
So to everyone's point, like for me, I normally stay at the Westin. The Westin goes on sale this year, the 29th, 10 a.m. I'll be doing exactly what Matt was talking about. I've blocked some time. I'll be up, ready to go. Like I already blocked my calendar. I have taken the day or sometimes the morning off work because it's serious. Getting the room is the biggest part, So yeah, I'll be refreshing. Knock on wood. I've been pretty lucky with the Westin.
Have you considered sorry, I almost said upgrade. Have you considered upgrading to one of the host hotels?
Oh, I've
And-
tried. I try.
I mean, the Westin's technically a host hotel, right?
But a legacy
No.
room is so I don't have to do it every year.
Yeah.
They released some Hyatt legacy rooms after, you know. So what happens, Acid, is like the people that do have the standing rooms, if their credit cards mess up or if something happens, they lose them. They don't play. Like they're released immediately. And I had gotten somebody's released room, and then ironically, my credit card marked it as fraud. And didn't send me a text message. And so I had it. I got the confirmation. I was through the roof. And then like 10 minutes later, I got the your reservation has been declined. I called up my credit card company, fuming, and they're like, yep, sorry. And I was like, really? Okay. And there's nothing they can do. Like, you know, there's no refund or
It's too
anything.
late at that point.
Yeah. Oh man. I didn't want to bring that back up because I was pissed.
Oh,
I
man.
would be too.
So I have a
See
question.
that.
So considering two people who have been staying in host hotels, well, technically Tony, not really. I mean,
Look, y'all.
what's the Western?
Here's what we're not going to do today.
No, but I'm always just curious. Is it worth it? Because to me, I always feel like there's some like it's busier, it's perhaps louder in the host hotel. Maybe the staff is overwhelmed, so you're not getting everything you need to. Because I've always heard sort of like these stories. But how
The
do you
Hyatt,
guys feel?
like I feel like the Marriott's going to be the one that you're going to have. If you're going to have issues, it's going to be the Marriott.
With
Getting
noise.
Yeah,
With
the noise,
yeah.
getting into elevators. Yeah.
Elevators.
Yeah.
For me, it's host hotel or nothing. If I don't get a host hotel, I don't go. Primarily because I go in costume, and I don't want to be walking up and down downtown Atlanta in a full cape and crown that I can barely move in and only basically spend 2 hours in. The nice thing about the Hyatt is that they have these two towers. They're elevator access, so crowd isn't too much of an issue. So for me, it's more a convenience thing that it's worth staying in the host hotels for like a convenience thing. I can easily get back on the floor, back in my room whenever I want.
Now I walked from the hotel that we were at. What was what was it again?
Motel
Residence Inn.
6? Oh,
Yeah. So I walked from that hotel to the Marriott in my Venom costume. Really wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, obviously,
I mean,
you gotta
Mike walked shirtless in a towel with a with a Mandalorian helmet on.
That's true.
I
So
mean,
Matt- so Matt-
fortunately this year the weather was pretty good.
Oh yeah,
We had great weather this year, but I too, much like Matt, I like the convenience of being close. I don't cosplay, but I take a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I'll do my panels and stuff. Then I'm like, yo, I need a break, and I'll go back to the room, kind of chill out, decompress, order some food or something.
and,
So that part's again super
Yeah.
convenient.
and the Westin isn't actually that far. Like I can see it from my window. The Sheraton is like 2 blocks down. It's like I always forget where it is every year when I have to go get my ticket for the one time I have to visit the Sheraton, and I always forget where it is. So
And he's right. Like and he's not the only one. Everybody gives the Westin a hard time because it's not
close.
connected. The main three are connected. So rain or shine, you don't have to leave the building. You do have to go outside and go up a very minor hill to get to the Westin, which it's all relative. You know, if at any other day it's not far at all, but when the other ones are literally connected, well, then it seems like a mile.
yeah, exactly.
And once again, I walked from the Marriott
here we
to our hotel. It really wasn't that big of a deal, but that's just I guess that's just me. Anyways.
Hey, I'll also add, Anthony, like the staff are I've never had any issues with the staff. They know it's coming and they're like in on it. So they usually have fun. They're laughing and joking. The Westin this year, they had like snacks and water and stuff and welcoming people. The Westin had a pin this year they've never done, like a little souvenir
Oh,
that's
DragonCon
cool.
pin. Yeah. Some of the other hotels have custom key cards,
Mhm.
you know, with DragonCon art. So they're all in on it, man. It's fun. Nobody's
And you get DragonCon TV. Like that'd be cool.
and you get DCTV. Yeah.
So I do have a question though, right? So like when I go to hotels, right, when it's time to leave, I just leave. So I don't quite understand the vast lines of people that I see trying to check out at the host hotels. Like, can you not just leave?
You can check it on your phone. That's what I did.
I don't even check out. I just
Yeah.
bounce. But
Yeah, just
what you're
sleep.
seeing, Jeremy, is people that need the not the concierge, but the bellhop. They're waiting for the bellhop because they have so many bags that they need the bellhop to come load it up and take them to their car.
Okay,
That
gotcha.
gets backed up. I've waited till like 2-3 in the afternoon, just waiting for a bellhop when I was there with a group of people. Fortunately, this year I stayed by myself, so I had a couple bags, did it myself. I was great. But that's what you see is people waiting to get their bags and stuff taken out. All these cosplayers with loads of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I feel like on Monday, from 8 a.m. to like 4, there was just constantly people trying to check out and leave, and I couldn't quite make sense of it.
I've always been interested in hearing the experience of people who stayed in the host hotels and just kind of getting their opinion on why it's so desired to have a host hotel, because I've been going to Dragon Con for a while now. I don't know how many Dragon Cons I've been. It's more than 6. And every time I was never in a host hotel, and I've always had to deal with the issue of getting to Atlanta, right? So the one thing I did this year, and Jeremy, you recommended this, and this actually ended up being the best bet, because I was debating, because I am a Georgia State student, so I could technically park in the student parking and just leave my car there, but I'm way too afraid it's going to get broken into. So I didn't want to do that as well. So what I ended up doing is I just parked at the airport, right? And then I took the MARTA to, the Peachtree Center location. And really, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I obviously it adds about 30 minutes to your commute, but once you're there, you're there. And
I mean, maybe because you still got to fight street traffic once you get off the interstate, and then try to park. So it might not really make any difference time-wise.
That's very true, right? So especially if you're trying to park like on a Friday or a heaven forbid you're trying to park on a Saturday in downtown Atlanta. But yeah, so I've always been interested because I've never felt like I'm missing out by not being in a host hotel just because, I don't know.
I don't think you're missing out. You're definitely not missing out on the Dragon Con experience, but you also just don't know any better. It's ignorance is bliss. It's just really nice to be able to use the bathroom, go to my room. I'm hungry, go to my room. I want to sit down, go to my room.
Yeah.
Like you always see people sitting on the floor and stuff. I'm like, what is this? But it's because they have nowhere to go. They need a break, I
mean, there are bars all surrounding the area. There's places to go and sit.
That's what we usually do, right? That's what me and Jeremy and our crew do. If we're tired, which we always are, right? You're always tired. You're always exhausted by like midday. You're exhausted.
Yep.
Right. Especially if you're walking like in the vendor hall, like you're exhausted.
Yeah.
By the end of that. So we usually just either we'll kind of go to like a bar or a restaurant, just sit down, relax, or we'll go to the gaming hall. The gaming hall was sort of like our depressing area where we just kind of went and just relaxed for a little bit.
You know where I go?
Yes.
To bed.
Exactly. Hotel key, elevator.
All right, very good. So what I want to do is I kind of want to add a little more structure to what we had going on here. Let's just kind of keep going. Let's just keep going with what we have going on here. But first, I want to kind of open up the floor to Acid. Acid, I kind of want to get your opinion. If you have any questions about the experience or anything like that, I kind of want to get you talking a little bit.
I kind of opened up the whole thing with the hotel room. That's kind of where it went from there.
Excellent.
But yeah, I don't know yet. Y'all give me some stuff first, like what y'all do and that kind of thing. Like, I'm kind of curious about Tony's panel, or panels that you went to. I'm kind of curious. So, like, what was there and what was your like must see panel of the week?
All right, so that's what we'll go ahead and do. We'll go ahead and we'll pick 3 things that we want to talk about. Maybe it's 3 things that you liked, and we'll kind of take turns. Or maybe you want to add something that you didn't really enjoy or whatever. If you wanted to do that, I think all mine are going to be positive. But we'll actually start with Tony, because you definitely have the more interesting experience at Dragon Con, because you did moderate a pretty prestigious panel, right? Obviously, it wasn't like Mark Hamill, but still a pretty big deal.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't say. What did you say? I had a better experience or something. I wouldn't say all that. Everyone's experience is unique. That's what's awesome with Dragon Con is there's so many different things going on that you can have totally different experiences and not even know what's happening, like in the next room over. But My three will all be. I'll talk panels for all three. So the first one, I was asked this year to moderate Matthew Lewis and Bonnie Wright. They're from Harry Potter, Neville Longbottom and Ginny Weasley, respectively. And it was awesome, man. It was the first. I've moderated plenty, and I've moderated celebrities at other cons, but this was the first big room one for me at Dragon Con. It was in the Marriott Atrium. Yes, we got a question.
So what? When you say you're moderating this panel, like, what is your job there? What are you?
So
what are you doing?
They come out, and for those that don't know, and it kills me that you have not been to. You haven't been to any con, correct?
Not a one.
We're gonna change it. We're gonna get you there, man. Yeah. So what it is, a moderator. So they have these two Harry Potter actors. We're there all weekend. They do autographs, they do pictures and stuff. But for a couple hours, for an hour a day, we'll say, they come out and do a Q&A. They come out and do a Q&A.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh boy, Bush League.
That was
great. It just freaked me out.
Sorry, real quick. Let me explain what happened. So I'm trying to, we have the Twitch set up. So I'm trying to
Did you turn on Twitch?
He did.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get the audience involved. I'm sorry, I screwed up. Anyways, go ahead, Tony. Please go.
Go ahead, pull up your chat. It's fine. You just got to mute the live.
Listener, turn your radio down.
YouTube chat is bumping. You need to be looking at the YouTube chat. There's a ton of people in here.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Really?
Sorry,
yeah.
Tony. Keep going.
Go ahead.
And so they come out and they do a question answer session, right, for an hour. The room I was in, it's gigantic. It's the biggest room they have. There's probably thousands of people. They wait in line an hour and a half to come see these actors, right? So
Sure.
They come in. I'm the first one on stage, and so basically I'm there to go over some of the housekeeping rules, things like don't come up and ask for selfies, don't come up and ask for autographs, blah blah blah. Get the crowd kind of hyped up, who here likes Harry Potter? I kind of figured, blah blah blah. And then I introduce, kind of bring them out. You may have seen this actor and but he's most famous is his role of Neville Longbottom. Give it up for Matthew Lewis. He comes out, everyone claps. Same thing, Bonnie Wright. So then I have the first question. I kind of chat with him for a second. Hey, how's it going? How's your trip been? Do. And then, all right, let's take it to Q&A. And so then the fans come up and ask questions. And if they can't hear them or there's confusion, I'll clear that up. If someone asked, or I haven't had this, but if someone asked a really dumb question, not a dumb question, like an offensive question.
Like an inappropriate question.
Yes. Yeah. Gotcha. I can nip that in the bud.
So are you the guy, are you all
guy.
right, what's your question? And then you're holding the mic to
the
person who's asking
I have
the
people that do that for me.
You have people.
This particular...
You have the button that shuts them up, right?
This particular room is so large that I'm sitting on stage with the actors. There's other people in the audience. And again, it's just such a big room that they have two volunteers that go, hey, what's your name? What's your question? So honestly, it's just making sure it runs smooth, getting the crowd hyped, piping in here and there. Every now and then I'll have a little quip or something, but it's all available.
And just out of curiosity, because this sounds like it would be a really cool little gig to get, at a con of any sort. Is this a volunteer kind of situation?
I'll tell you how I got there for when I come to my number 2. There.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Because I actually have a lot of questions about that as well. Because I think that, I wouldn't necessarily want the A-list celebrities, but I think just moderating a panel in general would be a whole lot of fun. I think I'd be pretty good at it too. The only thing is, I wouldn't want to don't shake your head.
That was for the viewing audience only. Yeah.
I'm looking at chat. CJ's he's like Steve from Jerry Springer. Shut that nonsense down.
Wow.
Very good.
As soon as someone throws a chair.
Yeah, as soon as someone throws the chair.
But I just wouldn't want to start from the bottom. I wouldn't want to be line dude my first con, right? So what? So we'll kind of talk about your experience and how you got up to that particular part.
You could just tell them, I have a PhD, right? I can't start at the bottom.
Well, I can't say that just yet, but hopefully soon I can definitely kind of throw that around a little bit. let's go ahead and get to Matt. So Matt, why don't you go and share one thing that you enjoyed or didn't enjoy about DragonCon?
So the kind of obvious thing about this year was, like Tony brought up earlier, was the attendance. So there's been a lot of hubbub the beginning of the year about a lot of drama and everything about DragonCon still continuing amongst the current pandemic and everything. I personally kind of wish they would have canceled as well, but luckily they took all the proper safety precautions. So a couple of things that they did this year was they no longer allowed day passes for Saturday, because that's most of where your attendance comes from. You have to prove of vaccination or a current negative test result. So that in turn, and they also kind of cut all the other passes by half. So attendance this year, drastically different. I haven't seen crowds like this since like 2008. Years before, attendance levels kind of were near 60 to 70,000, and that's registered attendees. So the whole time when you're in the hotels, because if anybody's familiar with downtown Atlanta, it's not really an open space, especially everybody stays in the hotel, which are all vertical. So everything is like shoulder to shoulder. You're going down these hamster tunnels. They're all the three host hotels are connected by sky bridges, and everybody's just kind of shoulder to shoulder. I remember one year I was going to the Marriott around like 1 a.m. On Sunday night, the last night, and I couldn't even get into the main floor because all the tunnels were just backed up. And I was like, screw it, I'm just going back to my room and I'm going to bed. But like this year, you can get anywhere without any problem. And that's, so the big thing right now is like, let's keep that. DragonCon usually also puts out a survey every year. And so we've been like pushing people, it's like keep the attendance cap, because like not being able to go anywhere at a con or just a gathering like this, that's just it's unacceptable. So it's like what's the point sometimes, especially like if you're in costume, it's hard to get around. It's just not worth it. Because of that, like every year I kind of debate in my head, like should I keep going? I mainly went this year because I didn't want to lose my legacy hotel. A lot of my friends have said that they have canceled their hotel. So hopefully that also means for Jeremy and Tony here is that more legacy rooms are going to start opening up. So, you know, I hate to make light of a current situation. I know it's bad, but you know, take what you can get. Other good things.
Let me ask you, Matt. So I'm sorry, I'm just curious. As a cosplayer, sounds like you do a lot. When there's not as many people there, did you still get as many pictures?
Okay. Oh yeah. So like, the cosplay crowd was still big. They were still out and about. For any of you first time visitors, go to the Marriott, go to the 3rd floor, which is the bar level. You'll see the giant sail barge, which is Tony's background. Very nice. Go there, bring a camera or phone nowadays, and just hang around there. Ask away. It's no harm. It's actually kind of flattering to a lot of cosplayers. Say, hey, can I take your picture? I really like your costume. Shoot away. That's primarily what I go for, is either to be in costume or take pictures of costumes. I didn't really
it's definitely to kind of add on to that. So this is the first couple of years where I've actually started cosplaying. So I didn't always cosplay. So like the past 2 years is when I started cosplaying, right? So, and it's so funny. You're right. It is a compliment when someone asks to take a picture of you. And actually, it's kind of depressing when no one does. So I was walking around like the Marriott for a while, and no one was asking for a photo for like a while, and I was like, oh no. And then every once in a while, someone would ask for a photo. You're like, yeah,
go. One thing I've learned is go in a group. Like coordinate a group. If they see a group of people, like I mentioned earlier, I went as Leon, and video game characters usually don't do well at DragonCon because it's mostly sci-fi TV movies and everything. Video games usually don't do well. But I was with a group of like 10 or so other Resident Evil cosplayers, and there was this really cute Ada Wong. So everybody stopped us like every 5 seconds for a picture. So go in a group.
So I've got a question about y'all with cosplay and pictures. Do y'all get asked by the middle-aged, balding professional photographers to have your picture taken?
Oh yeah. There's no shame. There's no shame unless you come off as creepy. there's this one guy who asked us for a photo, no harm there, but then he just kind of hung around and was like bragging about like his Resident Evil collection or whatever. And I guess was just like hitting on the girls. He was like jokingly getting their names wrong, and then he, for forgiveness, he tried to hug one of them, and of course they did the right thing and like told him no. But yeah, just don't be a creep about it.
Yeah. So like I only see those guys like taking pictures of the girls, and so I just kind of always assumed they were just creepy dudes.
Yeah, and like that's the other creepy thing. It's like you'll see people just like sneaking a photo like off to the side, and you'll see them with like a zoom lens like zooming in. I've seen stories of people who will like strap GoPros to their chest and just like ask girls for hugs. Clearly the GoPro's on and they're doing that shady kind of stuff. So it's like, just don't be a creep, be polite, be asked, I really like your costume, I like that character, and then when you're done, give them a thumbs up. So
you'll also see there's a lot of like families and stuff, and the kids will get pictures, and then that's obviously just parents. So like it's not, it's just people having fun. And there's what you see online. And I used to tell people, because I'm friends that were like, oh, I want to cosplay, but I notice it's nothing but like hot women. I'm like, no, it's not just hot women, but you get the people are going to take a lot of pictures of hot women, but there's also other people and everyone doing it and having fun and taking pictures. And like Matt said, excuse me, if you're in a costume, you run into someone in the same like genre, then you got to get pictures together. Then you're going to hang out, and then other people are going to want pictures. So it's not just the creepy people. It's everybody. It's fine.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It's like that group that I hung out with that we got a bunch of photos with. I had no idea who they were. We just happened all to be on the bottom level of the Marriott. We got done with a planned Resident Evil shoot, and we just kind of hung out together, and we spent the whole day, and it just kind of worked out that way. Now I'm friends with them, and we got another con planned at the end of the year. So like I said, it just works out that way.
All right, very good. I'll go ahead and go next because mine's going to be very similar to Matt's. So I'll kind of just piggyback off what you were talking about. And so the attendance is obviously something to talk about here. Now, do not post that you enjoyed the low attendance online because people will lose their mind, especially the people who did not attend, right? That is the most trigger-worthy thing that you could put online is telling the people who did not attend how great it was that they did not attend.
They didn't go.
Because so I'm obviously in the DragonCon Facebook group, and it's over and over and over again. People are saying, "Oh, it was so great that the attendance was low. Oh, it was so great." And then you just read the comments like, "I'm so sick of people. This is the pandemic. I didn't go." And it's just like, I get it. I get why people would be upset by that. But man, was it great?
Yeah.
Man, was it so? One of the main negatives of DragonCon, as someone who's gone to several different cons, from MegaCon to Dallas Fan Expo to Wizard World, right? To all these different cons. The one negative I will say about DragonCon is there's just way too many damn people there, especially on Saturday. And it's not anyone's fault. Everyone should attend. It's great. So saying that there should be a cap. I agree with you, Matt. That would be great if there was a cap, but I don't know if they're ever going to do it. And then also, it's also going to create a problem with, and this was a problem on Thursday, when you try to get your pass, when everyone's doing the weekend passes, that line takes forever.
2.5 hours I waited.
We were about 2 hours as well.
Yeah.
We're about 2 hours as well. So yeah, I kind of want to talk about the attendance as well, in terms of, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I totally get people who are very angry when people bring up the fact how great it was because it wasn't very crowded. And I'm telling you, it was like on a Saturday, being able to walk around the Marriott, just being able to just walk around on a Saturday night.
It was bizarre.
Yeah.
Being able to, although the restaurant that we happened to go on Saturday was in the Marriott, was it, Jeremy? I think they had a hard time. The serving the staff had a hard time.
Yeah.
But being able to just walk in there and just having a table right away, I mean, it's just like, it's sort of insane it's like, oh, this is DragonCon. And of course, next year it's going to be, if they don't have a cap, it's going to be everyone. Everyone's just going to come to DragonCon next year. Yeah. It's going to be crazy.
Realistically, how do y'all see that working? Right. So there's only two ways I can think of where you have some sort of cap. And that is you either do first come, first serve, right? So you've got, not necessarily Hunger Games with that many people, but you've got to buy your ticket pretty early, or you've got to raise the prices so much that it prices out the people who can't afford it. And that's the only two ways I see you can do it.
I hope they don't do the second part, right? I hope they don't raise the price because obviously I would fork out the cash, but I feel like that's not fair to the people who can't afford it, and I don't want it to be sort of like I don't want it to become Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of not allowing Saturday passes. I like that idea. So if that's the one change they make, it could be sort of like a compromise, saying that we're not going to do single Saturday passes, but we're not going to cap it either because the Friday's pretty bad too. Right? So
they're all bad.
Every day's bad during
what you run into Saturday is a combination of people that come into town just to check out the parade and just want to go for a day, which fair.
Yeah.
And then there's like a crap ton of football games that weekend, and then the games are done, right? And so it's like, I mean, I can maybe go hang out here for a couple bucks. So I think a lot of people come just to party, which I'm all for, man. But if you're gonna cut someone or something out, that's probably the spot. I'm with you. Those 1 day Saturday passes, but I'm curious how much money they make on those Saturday 1 day passes. It's
Ooh, that's
hard
good.
to cut
That's
it.
good. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. If they lost money by cutting that out,
I'm sure they lost money this year, but I think it was just kind of keep their head above water year.
Yeah, lose less than you would have not having it at all.
All right, Jeremy, we'll go ahead and move to you. What's one thing you want to talk about?
So I'm probably on the other side. I enjoy the big crowds. Like I enjoy the, not necessarily the hassle of getting from one hotel to the next or moving around, but just having the more people there and whatnot. And I will say this year, even though the crowd was much lower, it didn't really feel like it was any easier to get into panels or to parties. So the way that they, sort of reduce capacity in the various rooms, it was just as difficult, and on some like high profile events, even more difficult to get in. So we tried to get into a couple parties, and it just wasn't going to happen. Like they were just turning people away. Like we couldn't even get in line. So I would say if we keep reduced capacity, I think they've got to figure out some manner of handling that, to where you can actually go and do some of the things you want to do.
Yeah, very good. I agree with everything with what you said. This year, more than any other year, was the year that I went to less panels, right? And so a lot of that had to do with how they were capping the panel size and everything. And also it had to do with the fact that there wasn't really a lot of celebrities that I was necessarily interested in this year because they didn't have a lot. So I was more interested in just walking around, just seeing people and that sort of thing. But yeah, great. So Asa, we'll go ahead and toss it to you. Is there anything you want to ask?
I'm actually going to be the chat guy. I've got questions in the chat. So JB actually said great points to you, Jeremy, unless that's somebody you know.
That is somebody I know.
Yeah, somebody
Doesn't matter. It counts. The points count.
But anyway.
Now, JB, let's say something a little bit about JB real quick. So JB, if this is the same JB who stayed in our hotel, JB unfortunately had the last choice on where to sleep.
Bathtub.
Oh, no.
So obviously Jeremy and Michael, who was also with us, you had the two beds, and then there was a fold-out couch with a mattress in it, right? So what I ended up doing was, I need to make sure that I shore up this couch. But thankfully I'm way smaller than everybody else. So like logically, I should get the couch because I'm the smallest person. So I just took the mattress out, which was basically like a piece of paper, and I put it on the floor. I was like, okay, JB will sleep right here. So that's very unfortunate for JB. So sorry about that, JB.
Sorry, JB.
And also not sorry.
He says it's true. Yeah. All right. So question one is actually going to Matt with the crowd. A crowd question. How and it's kind of an interesting question. How diverse is the actual crowd itself? Is it pretty diverse? Is it one-sided, two-sided? I mean,
It's pretty diverse. Now, your the appeal of Dragon Con, of course, it's sci-fi. It's blanket sci-fi. The only like literature, video games for the most part, movies, television, TV's kind of become a more prevalent thing. But what I was getting at is that like anime is kind of the one that's left out a lot of times. So, and I'm not trying to sound stereotypical or anything, but the Asian crowd isn't that big over there. I mean, other than that, like there's a nice mixture. You know, Atlanta's a pretty diverse city, so you get a nice mixture. But like when it comes like to the Asian community, there's not much. I was really excited that the same night I dressed up as Luke Skywalker, there was I think he was Vietnamese, based off of how he was talking. But yeah, he was dressed up as Luke Skywalker as well, and I got a photo with him. Nice. But like, it's pretty diverse. It's pretty diverse. I may just be saying that because I'm obviously Asian, and I tend to notice those things. But it's like I said, it's mostly due to it being Atlanta, and sci-fi is a pretty inclusive thing. So that's the nice thing about sci-fi in general, fantasy, whatever, is that like it doesn't leave anybody out. Okay. So you have writers from different countries, you have different styles, different genres. So yeah, it's pretty diverse. It's really diverse. So.
And then the second question is kind of for everybody. I'm kind of curious. I want you to answer it one at a time, just because I'm curious to know what the answer is. So you're walking around, everybody, you're walking around. You're seeing all the cosplay. What's the one cosplay that you feel like you saw way too much of?
Ooh.
Loki.
Oh, Jeremy says
why?
Loki. Okay.
Who wants to explain why?
So, I'll go with Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
That would be mine. Mandalorian.
Okay. What about you, Tony?
It's Loki. It's like it has to be. I'm trying to think of what would be number 2 or 3.
It's Loki.
It's been Loki. But I'll say I don't get tired of any of it. I don't care. No. I've seen 1,000,000,001 Harley Quinns. I've seen 1,000,000,001 Jokers. Don't care. Yeah. I'll see 1,000,000,001 more.
Yeah, and I mean, I actually went out of my way to take a picture with one of the Lokis that was done well. But you could toss the horns on anything and call it a variant.
Yeah, that's true. What about you, Matt?
There were some cool Loki costumes. Yeah, one of my favorites was the TVA people. Like there was a bunch of TVA people who were like, what was that? It wasn't a Pokemon. It was like an anime character. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like a large anime character, like an animal-looking thing. Anyways, so go ahead, Acid.
Yeah.
Would it be the same for you too, Matt?
Oh yeah, same deal. More specifically, Sylvie, because Loki's really popular with the female crowd, and to have Sylvie there, nice little representation. It's like, hey, let's go with Sylvie. And Loki's an easy one to catch, and that's the other big thing about cosplay is that if you have a full setup, you always come up with a drinking costume, something that's not too overbearing, easy to slip on. And so you got a lot of the Lokis in the suit and the variant suit and tie, stuff like that, and you just slap on a little forehead thing of horns, and there's your drinking costume right there. So,
or you can just wear a spandex suit, which is very uncomfortable when you're sitting down to eat.
But how long did it take you to put that on?
So it took me. I've gotten pretty good at it because I had to zip myself up. Because no one was zipping me up, so I had to zip myself up.
It's not that we wouldn't; it's that we wouldn't go back to the hotel to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Perils of not being in a host hotel.
So did you? Yeah, there you go. Did you have? Was it the back zipper or was it the U zipper that goes around the sides?
It's the U back, right?
Ooh,
so
that's a tricky one because I did a Spider-Man one year and I had to have a handler just to make sure. A, that I could see because you can't see out of the Spider-Man mask, and B, to zip me in and out of it. But those things get surprisingly hot too, don't they?
They get hot and cold.
Really?
So they get hot when it's hot, but then they get cold when it's cold.
It's like a thermos. It's like walking around in a thermos.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, Acid, do you have another question?
That's all for the chat questions, but I'll ask one just for myself. Just because I'm a food guy, what was each of your favorite meals that you had while you were there? Because I heard a lot about how good the food is while you're there.
Is it?
It's easy. That's easy. So for me, it was Aviva, but Aviva's my favorite restaurant in Atlanta.
So,
So-
I've never.
But the
been to
actual
that
dish.
thing,
What was the
Aviva.
dish?
So Aviva is a place that I eat when, obviously because I go to Georgia State. So I'll eat periodically through the semester. Like I'll kind of treat myself and I'll just walk from the campus to Aviva and eat there. If you've never had Aviva, it's the best place in Atlanta. Like even Jeremy, who's not really like, I guess, into Mediterranean food. I don't know if he would or not, but Jeremy loves Aviva as well. It's by far the best place. If you're not familiar with where it's at, it's in the Peachtree, food court, right? You go down there, and it's the one that they have their own little section now. And the guy who owns it, Camille, he is.
I know.
He is the most hospitable person that you'll ever like. He's handing out free food. Like it's just fantastic.
Because it's like a lot. It's like kind of like a buffet. It's like a line, and you tell them what you want on your plate. I remember somebody coming out and just like coming around like the back of the line and just like patting everybody on the shoulder, being like, "Hey, is everything good?" I remember I was next to Garrett Wang when you're doing that, and he recognized Garrett, and he was having like a full blown conversation with him and everything. So yeah, he's out there. Yeah,
I've heard nothing but amazing things about that place.
Yeah.
And I just never make it.
I think it like legitimately has like a 5-star review on Google, and it's got like 1,000 something reviews. Like it's everyone likes it.
There you go.
Yeah, I will also say that Wednesday night we ate at Cut Steakhouse, and it was very, very good as well.
Yep.
Now we also had that the only other good thing that we had was that buffet, which was one of the hotels. It was expensive. It was a $40 buffet.
Oh my! The world is on a $40 buffet. Jeez.
But it was good. The food was good.
That was at Sear in the Marriott.
Oh.
Anyways, so let's go. I want to go ahead and get to Tony. I'm very interested to hear your experience with where you started and how you got to sort of like the moderating position.
So I'll throw in my number 2 real quick. Was Saturday. I had a very last minute call. Is like a week before the con started. And apparently their guest of honor this year was Louis Gossett Jr. And so they're like, "Hey, can you moderate Louis Gossett Jr.?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I got to sit down with him for an hour. That was another amazing panel. Unlike Ginny and Matthew Lewis, it was in a smaller room and it wasn't packed because it's not Harry Potter. But there were still a ton of people, and he had to sit, he was in a wheelchair that day, which isn't common, but that day he was, and so they had to move the table down to the floor, and so it was just really cool. It was like really intimate. We were all just kind of hanging out, and had a great panel there. But to answer your question, I started. Listen, this is probably my 13th Dragon Con, and I think maybe halfway through that I started getting more involved. Maybe 6 years ago, and I started with just doing panels. So it was doing a lot of panels for the digital media track. Podcasting stuff, mostly podcasting stuff for me. But I would do panels and I was like, "Hey, I kind of like this." And then we would have guests for the digital media track. We would have guests on my podcast. And I was like, "Hey, I kind of like this." And so it's just honestly just a matter of doing it year after year after year. Numerous conventions, now this year was definitely the biggest celebrities, but I've had like smaller celebrities come on panels or come on podcasts, and it's always fun. It's just fun talking to people and doing that stuff. So just again, after doing it a few years, they also review all the panels and they review the moderators of the panels. And so if you suck and you're rude to people, that the con hears about it, and so if you have decent ratings when they're looking for moderators for main programming, which is what it is, sometimes you get called up. It's like coming up from the minors. So, and that's pretty much what happened. Was last year it was virtual. They needed someone to talk to. I think it was Brian Michael Bendis, and I got called up, so I did that. And this year did a little more.
I do have a question about so as a volunteer, would you be in favor of them increasing ticket prices and using that money to actually pay the people who work?
So I wasn't going to say, you're talking about the increase in ticket prices. I've been a professional guest for, I don't know, 5-6 years now, so I don't pay for my ticket. And also,
yeah. But
and
still,
also,
I mean,
what's even better than not paying for your ticket, if I can just be real, is we go to a different place. We don't have to go to the Sheridan, so it took me like 5 minutes. Like I walked in, showed my stuff, walked out. So as a moderator, I like doing it. I get something from it. You know, there's a lot of volunteers that are behind the scenes that you don't see, you don't know. You know, like I get cool pictures and I get to try to get other gigs based on here's me working at Dragon Con. So that's how I benefit. But like I said, there's a ton of people that work behind the scenes. Yes, I would like to see them get some sort of compensation.
Yeah, I mean, because like the guest to volunteer ratio, like you wouldn't really have to up the ticket prices much to get a fairly, non-trivial amount to the volunteers.
Here's the thing, man. I've talked to a lot of volunteers and they seem to really love doing it. And they get a free ticket and they only work, maybe I say only, geez. I think they do 20 hours, 25 hours, which is like a damn part-time job over the course of a couple days. And then they get to hang out, for free after that. So a lot of people I've talked to, they enjoy it and they like doing it. And I guess they make friends and they socialize. I don't get it. I don't understand that part, but if they're happy, I'm happy for them.
I kind of get it when one of them yells at you because you're not standing exactly where they want you to be.
So
in the line.
That's the other thing, right? So it helps them, but if someone's a contractor, there's also accountability. So, like in my mind, it improves the situation on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this:
agree.
most of the volunteers are great. I haven't had any problems. I'm just thinking of one particular moment where someone was continually yelling at me and then threatened me to go to the back of the line when I couldn't literally move. It's like, I'm telling you, you need to move. I'm like, I can't physically move. I'm going to tell you to go back at the end of the line. I can't move.
Still can't move. I think twice in, like I said, those 13 years, 5 days a year, twice have I seen an instance where someone was like just a complete a-hole. And one of those, I got into it with them. But yeah, I would like to see that. I think there's a lot of people putting in a lot of work that deserve something.
All right,
I'm sure they're losing money by staying there the weekend or whatever. But anyway.
Yeah, and if you live in Atlanta and you wanted to go to DragonCon, but you couldn't afford it, I could definitely see it as being sort of like, all I got to do is volunteer for 20 hours, and the rest of the time I can kind of just have a free ticket to DragonCon. I could definitely see how that would be appealing for you. All right, Matt, let's go ahead and get to you. Is there anything else you want to say? What's your number 2 thing that you want to talk about with DragonCon?
My mind just kind of went blank. No, nothing really. Nothing I can think of. I mean, like next year, do you want to do an episode from there?
So we always talk about this.
I thought we were already here. We were already doing it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Keep it down. We're doing the show. What?
I would be more than happy to do like the week before to do a special, like we're getting ready for DragonCon thing. But I don't know if it actually would come through. Like we would actually
the Sci-Fi Gangsta panel.
Basically, he's saying DragonCon is more important than the show.
It takes away from his DragonCon time. Oh, I do have one thing I want to add that to what we were making fun of you earlier, that you didn't find any of us. You didn't take the time to like seek us out or anything like that. I don't blame you. So one thing that always, like, even if you were to try, here's exactly what would have happened. You would have called. You would have texted, because you can't call because you can't hear shit. You would have tried to text either Tony or I, and we would have been like, "Oh, I'm by the sail barge. How soon can you get here?" And you'd be like, "I can get there in 30 minutes. I'm not going to hang around there for 30 minutes. By the time you get there, I'm long gone." Then you're going to be like, "Oh, where are you now?" "Oh, I'm back in the room because my feet are tired, and I'll probably be back out by 5 o'clock, and it's only 2. So we're never going to see each other." Like I primarily go every year to meet up with a bunch of friends that have all moved away, and I only get to see them once a year at DragonCon. I maybe see them for like 2 minutes just because I happen to bump into them, not because we tried to find each other, because every time we do, nobody ever wants to meet up. Nobody can.
Yeah, I
meet
would
up.
say like when you go to Dragon Con, I think this is the biggest group that I've ever gone to Dragon Con with before, Jeremy. We had a crew together, and we kind of just we were in our little crew, and we went everywhere together. So like we separated a couple of times, but we always met back for meals. So meals were how we got back together. So we get back together. We did a D&D match, which was a whole lot of fun. Although the dungeon master wasn't the greatest. He was fine. He was fine.
He was fine.
He just wasn't very prepared. Like he wasn't prepared. Like he was reading.
He didn't have dice. Like,
no, he was.
I don't know. What are we gonna do?
Like if we would ask a question like, "Hey, is there a door here?" He would go,
"Let me check."
Ooh.
Like
it was like someone who had DM'd before, but had never done it in Adventures League. That's kind of what it felt like.
But yeah, he was definitely. Oh, that will be my second. We'll kind of go with that because we are kind of running along here, but we're talking about Dragon Con. So my second would be that we had a pretty fun D&D match, or a pretty big crew. Well, we had 7 people in our campaign. Yeah. It was a whole lot of fun. I was Fisk. I was a dwarf, named after the famous popular cultural scholar John Fisk.
I was thinking Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So how long did the game last? How long were y'all there?
An hour. I mean, it's just a quick dungeon crawl.
It was a quick game. It was definitely a quick game.
Yeah, so it was actually quicker than I think they were expecting. Probably because we'd all played before, and they kind of time it out for people.
I mean, I've played one-shots before, but I mean, they would at least be a couple hours long.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real story to it. It's just hop in, save somebody.
Especially when you're reading off the piece of paper, there's no story to it.
And I think
so
there's
a lot
of people. There's a lot of people waiting to play, and they're trying to like cycle through them.
Oh yeah. We're just joking to the person who was definitely
he's probably watching. Like,
yeah. Oh, he's in the chat right now.
He's our one fan. He's the one fan, and we lost him.
You lost him.
We lost him. He's gone now.
All right, so Jeremy, we'll go ahead and go to you. I kind of did my Dungeon and Dragon. What's your number 2? Are we at 2 now?
Yeah. So, like to me, it didn't feel like the con was Thursday to Monday. It felt like it was Wednesday to Sunday. Like Wednesday was hopping. Like Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night was a ton of fun. Monday was a ghost town. So like when you left, Anthony, and then like Mike and I, went around, and there was nobody there. And come Monday night, there was really nobody there. So like to me, it felt like Monday really wasn't part of the con. Like there was not a whole lot going on.
Does that change how you're going to book your rooms from now on? Are you going to leave a little earlier? Because I know, so once again, Jeremy was there from Tuesday to Tuesday.
That's crazy.
So does that change?
No, I will not change a thing. I will still be there Tuesday to Tuesday.
Jeremy was definitely in con mode. Like he was like, I'm going to be here from Tuesday to Tuesday, and I'm going to soak it all in. But yeah, excellent. Very good.
Totally worth it.
All right, Asa, we'll go ahead and go to you real quick. Do you have anything that you want to add, or is there any more questions in the chat?
Is there something that y'all did that you wish you hadn't done? Like you could have, you finished your trip and went, I could have went without that.
Oh, I got one.
The D&D campaign.
No, it was fun. It was fun. The D&D, it was fun. It was
sorry, Kevin, the DM.
I have an easy one.
Okay.
I ate the rainbow burger.
No.
That is not only was it disgusting, it was poorly. It was the worst burger that I've ever had in my life. It was, and I told the waiter it was bad.
But he offered to make it right, and you said it was okay.
He did, but by that time I was like, I'm not going to wait. I have a crew of people. I'm not going to wait here by myself for. But yeah, so if you're not familiar with the Rainbow Burger, is it the Hyatt? Is that it's in?
It was the Hyatt. Yeah.
So it's in one of the bars in the Hyatt where you can sit down and you eat. And one of their specialty is the Rainbow Burger, and there's a bun, but it's like rock hard.
Bun, huh?
There's a bun on a burger.
It's like a bagel. It's more of it's like a bagel.
It's a rainbow bagel.
It's a rainbow bagel that's rock hard. Like I took it up and like I hit it on the table. It was that hard, and the patty was burnt. It was by far the worst burger that I've had in my life. So
What were the Lucky Charms in?
There's Lucky Charms in as well. Yeah.
I think it was a rainbow like unicorn magical burger or something. What'd that set you back like $20, $25?
Yeah, definitely. Not a fan. I don't mind spending a little more money on food if it's good. Like that $40 that we spent at that buffet was a little more than I wanted to spend, but it was good. The food was fantastic.
You enjoyed it.
It was good.
Everything's pricey that weekend, man. Like I did a couple breakfasts at the hotels. Those are easily $20. So to hear 40 for dinner, especially at Sierra, like that doesn't shock me. And then the trick is usually I eat like once a day. Believe it or not, you can't tell by looking at me, but during Dragon Con, I'm like, let me get my meal in. And I have one good, like solid meal and everything else is garbage. So like I'll spend $40 and take some time and get some veggies and get some protein and, stock up. So
I think me and Jeremy have the same mentality when we go to cons, and that the food is just as important for the con experience than anything else. Like going and eating. So like we eat every meal, like we went out and had something to eat. Like, so like for me, the con experience, like going and eating food is like part of it. It's just like, it's gluttony. That's what you do. That's what the cons are. It's just gluttony.
Anthony, aren't you part Italian? Or did I just make that up?
Totally.
I am actually not part Italian.
I
don't think I have any Italian in me whatsoever.
I'm half Italian,
Scottish,
and everything you said is Italian. Like just the eating being a big event. I get it. That's an Italian thing. So
it's about family.
I am.
To be fair, eating is also a major part of my life outside of the con. I kind of base my life around it.
Yeah.
I select that. We'll put that in the next intro. But yeah, so great. Where are we at here? So we're at. Have we started the third yet? So Tony.
I'll make my third quick. So I had my two big panels. That's how I came up into doing panels. Saw a bunch of friends that I co-create with. That was great. But I randomly went to the Friday night costume contest because I had a friend. She was like, I kind of want to go. I was like, well, let's try to get in. And we were in the back, and it was at capacity, but they let a few people in as some came out. And just kind of hung out in the back, and it was hosted by Harvey Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows. It was great. We had a blast. There were some cool costumes. A friend of mine won best makeup, and it was just a fun. We were there like, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes because we were late. It was just a fun 40 minutes, seeing some cool costumes and hanging out. So it was one of those random things I didn't plan to do, but just found myself in and totally enjoyed it.
Like me in the Harry Potter panel, I went on, was it Saturday or Sunday when I went on a Harry Potter panel?
Sunday.
And once again, I'll say it again, I've seen the first Harry Potter and I've seen the last Harry Potter. And that is all I know about Harry Potter.
Watched the bookends. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, Matt, we'll go ahead and go to you. What's your last one?
No, my number 3 here kind of goes with Adam's question earlier. It's like, what's something you kind of regret doing? I had wasted my Saturday on a date that didn't work out. So the week before, I had met somebody online, and we're like, okay, we got to do like a first date. I was like, no, sorry, I got Dragon Con coming up. My weekend's eaten up. And she's like, oh, Dragon Con, I've always heard about it. I've always wanted to go. And I'm like, let's have our first date at Dragon Con.
Oh boy,
bad idea.
Man.
So she stayed with me the whole Saturday, and it did not work out. And I
was miserable.
Wasted my Saturday.
Oh.
So she didn't leave until like 2:00 that night because we were out in the Marriott, we were chatting with friends. She was meeting all my friends, and so she's like talking to my friends, like, oh, like this is we're a couple, whatever.
Oh, no.
And it just didn't work out. I'll just say it didn't work out.
Wait, so hold on. I want to know more. I want to know more.
I don't want to know more. I feel like it's hurting me.
Already.
It hurt.
Yeah.
It really hurt.
Hear more of this.
But go ahead.
I have a question. You said that it didn't work out.
Yes.
Who did it not work out for? Because it seems like she was there for a long time. Was it you? Was it you that made the decision? Yeah, this is not working.
It was both of us. So it was factors outside of the con and outside of us. So we had a talk about it like Monday, and it like the first thing she said, like, she didn't want to scare me off. She didn't want to be like, oh, it's not because of the con. It's not like nerds don't scare me or anything, like, because that was my go-to right there. It's like, oh shit, she's gonna.
Were you dressed up Saturday? Did you meet her dressed as like, or were you
dressed up? No, she was well aware that I was going to go dressed up.
Okay.
So I met her as Matt because it was her idea to be like, hey, you should get in a costume and I'll meet you up while you're in costume. I'm like, no, that should not be like, I may be out of touch, but I'm not that out of touch. It's like, no, you need to meet me first as me, not as whatever character I'm going as with a wig on and a cape and claws or whatever. No. So like, I met her at the MARTA station. We had lunch. I showed her around. I showed her how all the hotels work. I got tickets. Oh yeah, tickets on Friday, like 5 minutes. And then like around 2:00, I got into Leon as Resident Evil, and we walked around doing that for a while. And like, she was totally for it. We went to the dealer's room. We bought some stuff. And like I said, she was there until like 2:00. Were you were you wanting her to leave prior to 2:00? Were you like, okay?
Yeah, that's kind of my question. At what point during the day does Matt go, I wish she would just get out of here. It's over. I need her to leave now.
So a little backstory. I'm Canadian. I'm not allowed to get mad at anybody or tell them otherwise. I can't be like, hey, this isn't working out. Like, I can't be mean. But by nature, you can slit my throat and I will apologize for bleeding over your shirt. So
sorry.
But in your mind, Matt, you've got to be like, all right, she's got to go.
I think what I said is like, well, so it was Friday that she showed up. I was supposed to be in the parade Saturday, and I was like, hey, I gotta go to bed because it's 2:00 and I have to be up by 7 because I got to get dressed and be at the meeting point by 9. Long story short, I never made the parade. But so that was the excuse. That was the excuse to get.
You could have used that excuse way earlier. Right.
Yeah. But we were in the moment, like, so we were talking with like friends and everything. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just for her sake. Yeah. I guess I could have.
Here's my thing, man. Like 2 meals.
Turning into a dating show now.
2 meals.
I'm glad you didn't open with this. It would have sidetracked the whole thing. Like, this is the whole show now. If we meet for lunch and I'm getting hungry again, it's time to go. Like, we're not having 2 meals.
No, that's the second date at that point.
Like, there's nothing wrong with her. It's not like she was awkward and I enjoyed the company. It's just that like, I think like in the end we just knew it wasn't going to work out, and like it came to that point. It's like, oh, we're having fun still, but it came to that point.
Dragon Con, of course.
Exactly. She was having fun. I was having fun. But like, I think it came like the like reality just hit late at night. I was like, shit, she
2
needs
in the morning.
Yeah, 2 in the morning. It's like, yeah, she needs to go. I legit need to get to bed. And so yeah, that's like, and it was, but like, long story short though, it's like, don't leave your Saturday up to chance or something. Like, it's great that I went on a date. Yeah, it's fine. But like, in the end, like, I canceled a lot of meetups with some other friends because I wanted my attention to be with her. And like, just for that to be wasted, I'm probably never going to see or hear from her again. Yeah, there goes that. But
well, lesson learned, man. I don't know how old you are. I'm probably a bit older than you. Lesson learned, man.
Exactly.
Especially the Saturday date.
Saturday.
That's like a Thursday. You know,
Oh, yeah, you could,
I'll show you
Wednesday?
around all the hotels Thursday.
Yeah.
You know, not Friday.
It was Friday. But still, yeah, Friday and
Still,
Saturday,
not
kind of
Friday
hand in
night.
hand. Oof. Yeah. So it's like, okay, next year I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that again.
And one more thing I'll add, like it's Dragon Con. There's a lot of costumes. There's a lot of men, women, whatever you prefer. I break my neck a lot. I try to, I have to behave, but yes, Matt gets it. And so I this year went with an ex-girlfriend because I got her tickets. I had an extra ticket 2 years ago because I got my pass. I was like, here, you can have my ticket. We can go together. Well, then last year was virtual. And then this year we've been long broken up. We're still friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
And we're cool, but I'm like, can I look? This is going to be awkward.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I'm looking around and,
Because I don't know about you guys, but like
Lesson learned.
the other half of Dragon Con for me, and this is gonna sound shallow. It may not be shallow. I don't know. It's like if I'm single, I will go there. It's like in the hopes of meeting somebody.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
I'm sure a lot of people do that.
Yeah, and if I'm there with somebody else, like whether I'm actually dating, like you said, it's your ex that like people don't know that. I was like, oh, he's with somebody. Oh well, I'm gonna go this way now. I'll find another moderator who can moderate my life. So.
Very good. Very good. Excellent. That's a good way to end that. So I'll go ahead and get to my last one real quick. I just want to share one of my favorite parts of the. So the reason why I go to cons, there's two main reasons. One of them is to get celebrity autographs and meet celebrities, right? So that's always been a big thing for me for cons. I usually follow celebrities around cons and just collect things. I'm a big collector. And obviously for Dragon Con, that wasn't the case, like, because there wasn't that many celebrities that I was interested in, and I was completely okay with that. But the other big thing is the vendor hall. That is the one thing that I have to do every con is I need to spend a lot of time in the vendor hall. And man, does time go by quick in the vendor hall? Like I remember I went
does
first
money.
thing. That's true.
I bet it does.
That's true. I went first thing into the vendor hall, and then I was like, I'm kind of going. Obviously, there's 4 floors and all that kind of stuff, and I get a text. So I go first thing in the morning, and then I get a text. Next thing I know, I get a text that says, we're all about to go get lunch. Are you hungry?" And I was like, "It's not even lunch. What are we talking about?" And I looked at it. It was like almost 1 o'clock. I was like, "What just happened?" It was like I was in a time warp. But anyways,
it's like in Vegas. There's no clocks, no windows.
Yeah.
They pump in oxygen.
Pumping in all the oxygen. Yep.
That vendor hall, and I'm telling you, you're exhausted. But one of the coolest thing is I actually got to. I don't even know if I got a good deal on it or not. But I bought 2 things. So I bought my Stormtrooper Venom mask, and then I bought the Wolverine mask that you can't see. Oh wait, can you see?
I've seen pictures of it though. Yeah, you posted on. Yeah, there it is.
All right, so I was
part of the thumbnail.
When I saw this particular vendor, and they're high quality, like they're heavy, like they're weighted, like it's really high quality stuff here. So it's not like cheap, like you go to the, Walmart and buy, right? So this is like quality stuff, like handcrafted almost. So I looked at it and I was like, and I always like to buy one expensive thing every time I go to Dragon Con. I don't like to buy a lot of those small things. I buy one expensive thing, and I was like, you know what? This is gonna be it. I like all of these things. Like they had a Thanos mask, Thanos helmet. They had a Thor Ragnarok helmet there. Obviously, the Stormtrooper thing, the Wolverine thing. I was like, I'm definitely gonna get one of these. So I talked to the guy, and I was like asking for prices, and he's like, for the Wolverine it'll be $200, and for the Stormtrooper, that one's, I think he said like $350 or something like that. And I was like, okay, but maybe I'll get one of these. So I come back around, I go back and I look again. I was like, because I couldn't decide which one I wanted. I wanted one of them. And I asked again, and he gave me a different price. So I was like, okay, this guy's playing games with me.
Did he remember you?
What was that?
Did he remember you?
I guess he did not.
Okay.
He eventually did, because he noticed that I kept going back because I wanted to look at him, because I was like, I'm definitely getting one of these, but I don't know which one yet. So one of them was $200, one of them was like $350, and I go up there. And I'm like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw a price at him. And if he says no, I'll walk away and I'll come back and I'll get one. So I said, I was like, I was kind of messing with it a little bit. And I was like, I want one of these. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, he's kind of trying to talk me into it. And I had just happened to have $400 in my Cash App because everyone's been paying me for fantasy football. So I had $400 in my Cash App. And I said, I have $400 in my Cash App right now. Would you take it for both? So both for $400. And he thought about it for a second. He was like, all right, I'll do it. And I was like, sweet. Now, was that a good price or not? I don't know. But I was pretty happy that I was able to talk him down for 400.
That's all that matters. Value is in the eye of the beholder, man. If you're happy with your purchases, then hell yeah, right on.
Little do you know, he only spent $10 on each of this. So
I will say that Mike and I went by there on Monday and asked the guy how much they cost, thinking that he was going to have reduced it significantly, and he hadn't. So he was asking for the same thing. So you probably got a good deal.
Yeah, I think he definitely was one of those vendors, and not every vendor is like this, by the way. Some vendors will say "F you" if you ever ask for like a reduced price or anything like that. But some vendors will go there like they're like, I need to get rid of some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not just going to give it away. Like you're going to have to kind of work me for it. So that was I enjoyed my purchase, and I was able to cosplay with my Venom
spots are.
Yeah,
Do you know, Tony? You're more a volunteer.
No.
How much would like a vendor pass be like to have a booth?
I've heard. I don't know the number, but I've heard Dragon Con's definitely one of the biggest shows, one of the most expensive shows. But a couple of the artists I chatted with, they said it was worth their while. Okay. You know, I always ask, hey, did you guys have a good weekend? I know there's a weird weekend. Everyone was like, yeah, no, it was great. I'm glad I came. So. Sounds like, and I think that's why they're so expensive because, you know, you're gonna be profitable. We dropped by, like I said, my friend, my ex-girlfriend, who it was her first year. She's like, I want to go to the vendor hall. I was like, definitely, we'll make it happen. But then it came to like Monday at like 2:00. We're like, we gotta go now. We were in there when they were doing like last call announcements, like the store's closing. So we ran through. And still in like an hour, she dropped a ton of money. She was like losing her mind because there's so much stuff. I'm like, You've never seen anything like this. She's like, oh my God. Do you want to look first? No, I'm getting this.
So that's why I have that rule for myself.
It was
this is a rule that I have for myself where I'm like, I'm allowed to have one purchase. So it's allowed to be expensive, but I'm one purchase because then you'll just buy everything you see. You know, so but
and then later you've now spent $2,000 and you don't know where it went.
And you got to get it back.
I spent way too.
Jeremy's like, I've done it every year.
I spent way too much money, anyway, so Jeremy, we'll go ahead and get your last one.
Yeah, I mean, talking about purchase, if I could reach my lightsaber, I would show something that I definitely do not regret buying.
Jeremy, I was just thinking. So we went by the Ultra Sabers, and I was like, I gotta get one of those. I don't have one. I was like, I gotta have one Ultra Saber, right?
It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Next year.
So Jeremy, I'll let you finish, Jeremy, but Jeremy doesn't show a lot of emotions a lot of times. But when he was holding that lightsaber, like you could just see the joy, the joy. Like he was kind of messing with it a little bit and kind of making noises with it. And look, if you know Jeremy, he's not going to like. He's very confined. Like he's not going to show a lot of emotions. He's not going.
It's a man's man.
He was just playing with that lightsaber. I was like, oh, this is pure joy, Jeremy.
Should have seen me when no one was around.
But keep going, Jeremy. You were saying about your lightsaber.
One of the other things from the convention. So I had been to the Thursday night wrestling before, but I'd never been with a big group. And I will say it was a ton of fun this past time. So fun. And one of those con memories that's going to be with me forever was the entire crowd chanting, "You watch horse porn" at one of the wrestlers. And it only would happen at Dragon Con.
Oh, gosh. My word. I don't even know what to say to that.
The DCW wrestling on Thursday. It's so much fun. I hosted a freaking comedy show this year. As like a welcome back. Funny enough, Anthony, James Etchison was on it.
I did see that. So yeah,
it was awesome. It was a great show, but I missed wrestling, and it's always such a good, just a great way to kick off Thursday, man. So much fun. Normally we don't do the horse porn thing, but it's always fun.
Like you will now. It was one of those organic things that just popped up from something one of the guys said, and it just carried over into the crowd. It was hilarious.
Good. So, Acid, I think we're going to go ahead and skip trivia for today. So we're going to go ahead and close. If you have,
I didn't have any prepared. So
very good. Yeah. We definitely have been running late here, but it's just been a whole lot of fun talking about Dragon Con. Acid, do you want to ask any particular questions, or does anybody have anything to say on YouTube?
I was fairly entertained by Matt's dating story. That was amazing. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
With us. Yeah, I appreciate that.
It would be funny if that's what Matt does every Dragon Con is he finds a date and he tries every Saturday.
I'll change my dating profile for that. It's like just looking for like throughout the whole year, not going on any dates, but just plan it for Labor Day.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
I-
JB
Saturday.
I may do that.
JB wants to know if Jeremy is going to share his new book collection from the con.
My book collection.
Yeah.
So,
So are you going to share your new book collection from the con? That's the question I got.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. So we went to some of the late night panels, and there's a particular subjects and particular authors who make their living writing about these things,
Sure.
and they're all on Kindle Unlimited, and so I picked up several of them, and they are terrible.
Did you go to
Okay.
Boinking Beasties
Oh
by
yeah, it's
chance?
the second year going. It's awesome. It is
We
so
didn't even
much
talk
fun.
about we didn't even talk about the furry panel that we went to, or the furry gathering.
Yeah,
that
we went to a furry meet and greet.
Oh my.
where Jeremy paid a local artist to draw a picture for him. Did you ever hear anything back from him?
No, he just took my money and ran.
Really?
And
Oh,
Quinn's
man.
money, yeah.
Well, very good. So, all right, there you go. That's our show for today. We talked about Dragon Con, a little Dragon Con recap. You can see the joy in our faces when we talk about Dragon Con's special event for us. Maybe Matt will meet his future wife.
That's the plan.
Who knows?
At the next Dragon Con. We'll see. We'll see if that one is more successful. But yeah, so for Tony, for Matt, for Jeremy, for Acidtrain, I'm Anthony Nadar. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify as well and Apple, because there is a podcast version of this. We'll upload that onto Spotify, so you can check that out if you want to listen to us in podcast form. Check us out on Twitch and YouTube. That's the show for today. Have a good one, everybody.